Hey guys, what's up? How you doing? And welcome back to the channel. Today I've got another fight on Third Age Total War Wars of Arda. And this time it is a matchup between Arthedain, played by past levels, who has somehow taken control of Minas Tirith, and the Gondorians, who are trying to retake it. Just quick FYI, this battle makes no sense whatsoever. But it was a good one, and there's one minor little detail that I'll let you know about, and obviously you will see it when it occurs, but it's something to do with the second unit of Hallowed Knights I brought. And in the battle screen you'll see that basically in the end battle screen and throughout the battle you'll see something's really quite unfortunate for me going on with my second unit, so second unit of Hallowed Knights. But yeah, Minas Tirith, you know the deal with that, 7 levels, albeit we are going to be seeing a battle entirely fought on this ground level here, so 1v1, and it's a good 1v1, I'll give it that, albeit, well, when it happens you'll see, and I'll explain it when it happens, but yeah. So let's get in with the army comps. I've gone for 2 units of Hallowed Knights, which combined between them cost about 6.3k in this test build. This is the test build before the latest one that came out a few days ago, that I haven't been able to pick up just yet. Yeah, 2 units of Hallowed Knights, which first unit's 2.5k, and then the second unit's 3.8k, which does add up to 6.3k. 3 hit point, Swordmasters, AP, very heavily armoured, just very high stats, very killy is what I'm trying to say. They should get a lot of kills each, and unfortunately one of them underperforms for a very unfortunate reason, which I shall delve into slightly later. Then I've got a unit of Gondor Sword Infantry pushing up the ram with another unit just in reserve back here. This is just numbers really, and I've got some Gondor Great Spears just for that high numbers phalanx that they offer. Then some Citadel Guard just off that armor piercing spear capability. They're not as good in this in Wars of Arda as they are in Reforged, but they're still an elite armor-piercing spearmen, so they can't do too badly. And then in behind these units of Fountain Guard, these guys, phalanxes, going to be very useful. And they're an elite armor-piercing phalanx as well, which just makes them also much better. I believe they have 7 or 11 attack. I think the Gondor Great Spears have 7. But the Fountain Guard have 11. Wardens of Minas Tirith has my general is in this unit. What's his name? Aragorn, son of Arathorn. And these guys armor piercing arrows, and then to top it all off, bodyguard tier swordmasters in melee. So they're not going to be too shabby when it comes to that melee grind towards the end once they've utilised all of their ammunition. Then probably one of my favourite Gondorian units, excluding the Royal Guard of Nimloth, I believe it is, which is basically a very, very nice pike unit. The most elite unit in the game, I believe. Pike unit in the game, I believe Bilbo said. Not so long ago. But yeah, these guys, other than them, probably... And the Hallowed Knights, probably my favourite Gondor unit, because it's just rangers, sneaky boys. In fairness, I am starting to like Blackroot Vale Archers a lot as well. So normally now my army comp will comprise of 2 of each of them. Purely because Blackroot Vale Archers just have that slight edge over Arthedain Rangers in melee. But Arthedain Rangers, of course, because they're Rangers, have that slight edge over Blackroot Vale Archers at range. And they're not actually as expensive as you'd think, priced at only 650 florins. And they're not half bad in melee, but they'll lose to like dedicated melee infantry and even certain missile units, as you'll see later in battle. But they will beat those missile units at range because they're just good archers. Already been through the Gondor Great Spears, just a nice cheap phalanx, not armor piercing, but still a phalanx. Last but not least from me, we have 2 units of Pelican Marines, javelins mixed with axes in melee, whole lot of armor piercing, and of course these guys, their melee stats are actually better than Gondor Sword Infantry, albeit they do have 30 less men and they cost a couple hundred more, I believe. They cost 850 or 950, as opposed to the Gondor Sword Infantry's 550. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Bilbo. I'm still not 100% sure on pricings. But yeah, on to defenders, played by pass level. She's brought 2 units of Shire Guard, which are just like hobbit archers. Not too bad at range and not too bad in melee. They have a nice armor piercing edge over stuff like Dunedain Rangers, albeit their stats are slightly worse for wear because of that. But they have numbers as well, which is going to prove very useful to them in the coming fight. And then behind each of these we have a unit of Dunedain Defenders and one basically over there as well. Just going to be very useful. Dunedain units, of course, going to be at the very least decent in melee, if not good. Spearmen, those, they do have the Spear Malice, but again, shielded, very nice Dunedain infantry. They're not going to do badly for themselves. Then I believe she's brought 2 units of Dunedain Rangers, if I can find the second one. Dunedain Commanders, Warriors of the North. Maybe she has only brought 1. Weird. Thought she'd brought 2. They are the kind of unit that are good enough to bring 2 of as well. There's nothing up there. You can't hide anything in the city. Maybe I saw the Grey Company and got confused. Now she's like hidden somewhere among all of her other Dunedain units, which I don't think she has. Okay, so I guess it's only 1 unit of Dunedain Rangers then. Again, just these guys, they're not quite as good as Arthedain Rangers at range, and they lack the ammo supply that Arthedain Rangers have. But because those shields they have, they're better in melee, of course, with better attack and defense stats, as you'd expect. But I believe they cost a very similar price, if not slightly more, maybe 700, 750 florins. Actually, I think they cost 800. Correct me if I'm wrong again, Bilbo. So many questions that will require so many answers, and of course there's going to be yet more now that the new test build's out. She's brought 2 units of Arthedain pikes. Just having that pike phalanx is going to be very annoying for me to deal with, unless Hallowed Knights. Just Hallowed Knights are the answer to everything. Hallowed Knights are the answer to all of your Lord of the Rings problems. But yeah, phalanx, not too shabby either. Decent armor values, so archers, well, they're still going to be good at dealing with them. Not quite as good at dealing with them as they'd be against a lighter armored pike, but still going to be decent. Then a much more elite halberd unit in the Elendil Guardians, so armor piercing halberd, spear malice of course, because they're spearmen. But an elite halberds, they're going to have decent melee stats, good melee defense I'd expect, and they have that phalanx ability, which just means they can hold out for quite a while. Then behind these, some Dunedain commanders, light axe infantry, So armor piercing, of course, as all axe infantry is in Walls of Ardor. And there's one of those there, and probably a second one somewhere. Then there's the Knights of Anumnus. These will have cost past levels quite a bit, I would have thought. To bring maybe a 1,050, 1,500 florins, I'm thinking, for those. So I know you can bring 4 Arthedain Knights as Arthedain, and they're 2 hit point cavalry, but they cost 1,050. But I believe these ones cost 1,500 or 1,550. Arthedain Shield Breakers, very similar to Arthedain Men at Arms, insofar as they have a shield and that nice cuirass or breastplate or whatever that is. I think it's a cuirass, similar to what the Conquistadors wore. Except they're armed with a mace, which of course, as we'll all know from Reforged, is armor piercing, which means they'll have a slight deficit in their melee attack stat, and possibly melee defense, but not much, and they have armor piercing off the back of that. Wardens of the North, what I would describe as a very similar unit to my Wardens of Minas insofar as they're an armor piercing archer that pulls out a very dangerous melee weapon, and their bodyguards here. Except this very dangerous melee weapon is possibly more dangerous than the greatsword the Wardens of Minas whip out, as it is a great axe, which means armor piercing, which is not exactly something I'm probably going to want to be dealing with. We have Grey Company, which is an assassin unit, so they've got their throwing knives and then their sword and shield in melee, which is not too bad. Armor piercing at range, decent unit in melee, very similar to the Dunedain ranges, I'd say, except shorter range and armor piercing. So not too similar to the Dunedain ranges in fact, but melee wise very similar. Behind these, a unit of Dunedain Guardians. Because I feel like I'm missing things here, but I guess not. We'll find out soon, anyway. Been through Grey Company, so Sword Master's going to be very useful to pass leveling this defense. She's going to, I wouldn't say she's going to rely on her Dunedain units to deal out the damage, but there's a high possibility that her Dunedain units will be dishing out damage for her, while her more defensive-minded Arthedain units and, well, spearmen just tank. Speaking of spearmen, we've got the Elendilmir Defenders, which is a very nice elite spear unit, which will just hold out a long time, which is a big problem for me later on in the battle, considering me and past levels agreed one thing. It was slightly toxic of me to bring 2 units of Hallowed Knights, so basically I went about 800 down, 800 florins down in an attack, and I said that if these, I still fight, but if these guys were all I had left, the second unit of Hallowed Knights was all I had left, I'd basically admit defeat, which is very unfortunate because it was a very close fight. But it would have been significantly less close if I didn't admit defeat, granted. Last but not least, the Champion Knights of Eleutherion, which has her general in. Can't quite tell who that is, but I think it's another Aragorn. Albeit, this is Ranger Aragorn. Or is it? Oh wait, this is 3rd Age. This is like early 3rd Age, so... I don't think he's changed the general for Gondor. I believe that's the same guy as it always has been, if I can find it. Yeah, that's definitely the Reforged General model. Except that might be Faramir, you know, instead of, yeah, that's Faramir. This is Aragorn, except it probably isn't, and it's probably Isildur in this. And that might be Elendil. But yeah, that's enough for the army comps. Let us begin. And you can see that I'm just going to be moving up, or not. Oh wait, no. What happens is, now I start moving up. And unfortunately, I didn't realise until slightly too late that she'd brought Knights of Anubis. Of course, past levels doing the right thing and trying to focus down my Hallowed Knights. And at this point, I am actually just trying to pull my Hallowed Knights back inside the Gondor Sword Infantry. This is for one very important reason. A charge from the unit of Knights of Anubis could potentially kill some of my Hallowed Knights. And I'd much rather it killed my Gondor Sword Infantry than my Hallowed Knights of Anor. And you can see there, even though it still killed a couple of my Hallowed Knights. And what Seraphim's doing is just shooting, sending every single missile she possibly can into my Hallowed Knights. By extension, Gondor Sword Infantry, which is basically another just useful thing with putting my Hallowed Knights in there. They're going to be getting shot. It's an interesting strategy trying to light my siege tower on fire. I'll give her that. What I'm currently trying to do is, I believe I'm just trying to shoot these. Because they're just going to do too much damage otherwise. And you can see that volley just getting them killed a lot. And now I'm letting them charge into my Gondor Sword Infantry so I can get a rear charge in on them with my Hallowed Knights. Which goes pretty well, screwing a few of them, getting a few of them killed. And getting a few more killed here, I believe. Because it's Hallowed Knights. What do you expect? And now it's a case of just try to kill them before they reach my archer line. Because, obviously, past level, gonna try and just decimate my rangers and the like. And getting a good charge in, killing about 20 of them off of that charge. And able to push through into my Pelagian Marines, getting another charge in there. Cheeky little charge, screwing a few of them. But unfortunately, this might be a bit of a last hurrah for the Knights of Anubis, as they're in an armor-piercing infantry unit that's pretty good. And they're not going to make it, is what I'm trying to say. They might get to the Citadel Guard, but spearmen, armor-piercing spearmen no less, isn't exactly what you're going to want to be dealing with. And now that I've dealt with that, I feel like I can definitely basically just move forward. But you can see quite a bit of damage has been done. 6% of my soldiers killed to 2% of hers. I mean, it's not too bad, but early on, you don't particularly want to be losing as many soldiers as that, I would say. Being 4% behind as an attacker this early on, before you've even reached the walls. Not great, but a lot of past levels ammunition has been used up. That is one thing to note. Not all of it, but like a few, like 5 or 6 volleys has. And I've finally dealt with that lone Ice of Anubis, I believe. Somewhere. So I'm not trying to shoot it anymore. But yeah, moving up the ram. At this point, I believe I send up the second unit of Gondor Sword Infantry and maybe the Gondor Great Spears as well. So I realise, right, if I actually want to keep this attack going, I definitely have to have more than 3 units up here. In fact, the first unit I move up is actually the Arthedain Rangers and Wands of Minas, funnily enough. Just to try and get some cheeky little shots off on the enemy archers, I'm assuming. And past level, in fairness, this is one thing she's been very good at doing. And that's basically pulling missile units off the walls before they get caught. Well played from past level here as well. Getting that nice flanking fire into my Hallowed Knights. But now that I've got the siege tower up there, I just wanted to use the main reason I was using the siege towers with these guys. I didn't want to put them up on the walls because I knew that basically the result of that is they get shot. Lovely little bit of Med 2 stuff here. Siege towers just being interesting. That's probably the fastest walking I've ever seen a unit in Med 2. Breaking down the gates, and of course I have my lovely infantry up here. I've got my final units of pole arms, which are it's very much a danger for them to get a shot, I would say. I'm moving them up now. Got my siege tower at the wall. And you'll notice very soon that I say, right, stop climbing that. Yep, you can see that there. And I say, right, get off the siege towers, you're coming back down. Because I don't want you on the walls. If they went on the walls, I'd have Great Company, I'd have... Not them. But I'd have... What I'm trying to say is I'd have an awful lot of archers shooting.
The battering ram has done its work.
And there we go, the battering ram breaks down the gates.
Siege towers are at the walls.
You can see here, it's not a bad defense that Pass Level set up. She's got her pikemen, she's got halberds, she's got her Dunedain commanders. Then she's got Arthedain shield breakers in reserve. And it appears that she's taken on board some of the criticism that I gave her. Insofar as her reinforcements are definitely a lot closer to the front line than they were in the Helm's Deep fight. But in fairness, I do believe that's because of the way she plays on Helm's Deep, because of the type of map it is. Because if you're near a breach, you're just going to get shot, and you don't really want that to happen at all. That is not a good thing. And it's at this point that I decide, right, screw it. I am just charging in. And my Gondor sword infantry getting stuck in, and Pass Levels, she's just basically pinning the trap in now. Somewhat V-shaped defense. Okay, sorry about that. Just had to go and do a little something quick, which is why I stopped the recording. But yeah, what you can see is just moving up my Gondor Great Spear. Nope, moving up some Fountain Guard at the moment, and just trying to get as many of my soldiers in through the front gate as I possibly can, and by extension, get as many Hallowed Knights of Anor in through the gate as I possibly can. Because the thing about Hallowed Knights of Anor is they are very killy soldiers. Nothing can stand against them, I would say. Except archers, because they can just shoot them. And we can see there the Hallowed Knights slowly but surely dealing with the Elendil Guardians and the Dunedain Guardians, but the Arthedain pikemen largely remaining ambivalent to the threat that is right next to them. Pass Level, she's trying to get her Great Company in around the flank, and just with any luck for her, get some throwing knives into my soldiers. I'm not sure if she manages it. We'll find out now if they decide to shoot. It does appear they might do. Oh, no, they're not. Evidently, we're not going to be as fortunate, or that fortunate. And you can see over here, we've got a nice, ballpark of just bulwark, even, of Hallowed Knights of Anor, just slowly but surely dealing with these Arthedain shield breakers as well. She's sent in her Arthedain pikes, and if we look at the balance of power now, we can see that I am slowly but surely, well, I've more than just evened it out. I have in fact managed to outkill her. And that's obviously going to be largely due to the Hollow Knights, who could potentially eventually be stopped, especially with the Grey Company sending in their missiles. That looked a... Nope, that is not friendly fire. I recognise that Hollow Knight shield anywhere. And yeah, you can see, slowly but surely, these Hollow Knights are starting to drop. And very good play from her over here. She's got her Shire Guard just shooting in. Very, very good play. That's going to kill a lot of good Gondorians here. I believe, yeah, you can see the Fountain Guard getting stuck in. Just getting stuck in there. That Phalanx going to prove almost essential, I would say. Past their wall, pulling her Arthedain defenders off the wall, which is probably a good decision. Whereas my Citadel Guard over here, disembarking from the wall and managing to very quickly die to archers. Oh, it's that bug. Okay. That explains it. How healthy are you? Yeah, this side of the wall is completely fine. See if I can identify the problem. Are they like... The siege towers like... This one, is it slightly higher? No, it's not. So... I swear I saw a couple of Citadel Guard basically die. Like, just coming off the walls. But perhaps I didn't. Unfortunately, these Citadel Guard getting themselves sandwiched between Shire Guard, Arthedain Pikemen, and Arthedain Defenders, which does suggest that their life expectancy is not as high as you would hope. However, the Shire Guard are basically marching into a death zone. But that death zone could very quickly switch on to the Citadel Guard because they're basically sandwiched in between a lot of very angry hobbits armed with maces and very big tall people. I'm good at words, trust me. The Grey Company charging in, although it looks like they're really not, and they're just like going, well, what that guy's doing, just being absolute idiots. And I was wrong about them being swordsmen in melee. They have those nice little hatchets, I would describe them as. So they're armor piercing in melee as well. And has she told me yet? Yep, at this point she's said, right, this is way too toxic. I don't want you to use your second unit of Hollow Knights, so I just pulled them out and basically say, they got 60 kills or whatever it was kill wise they got. Just like, I'll pull them out now. They got a couple hundred foreigns worth of damage in. But I will admit defeat if these guys are the only ones left. And we will see if I end up having to admit defeat in the end. But at the moment, it's looking very, very nice for me. My Citadel Guard up here have just about managed to beat back the Shire Guard. An emphasis on the word just about. They really have not done particularly well there. Especially since they're going to be dealing with a unit of Arthedain Rangers. Oh, these poor guys. They've been through a lot. And now they're going to get shot in the back. Oh dear. Oh wait, no, they're not. She is shooting my... She's shooting my Pelasgian Marines. Like, that's out of order. That is out of order. Because I just realised, right, I need a few more men on the front line. I just send in 96 Arthedain Rangers It's not going to do much, but it's just something. My 17 Hallowed Knights just killing things. Just generally being Hallowed Knights and just annihilating everything. Wardens of Minas doing very similar things, except some slightly more lightly armoured targets, I would describe them as. And at this point, I am literally just hoping to God my Citadel Guard can survive slightly longer. However, it doesn't look like that's the case, as the last one is about to get butchered and goes down just then. And this is when I, in my infinite wisdom, decide, let's send archers up on the walls. Which, as I'm assuming you can realise, probably not the brightest move. Battle-wise, they're going to get massacred, most likely. But if we look at this, you can see I've got a decent number of reserves. I've got 2 units of elite infantry and the Pelargin Marines. I've got some Fountain Guard and Gondor Great Spears. Can't use these, but I do use them for about, like, a minute or so at the end of the battle, because we just wanted to test something. The Wardens of the North also using their armor-piercing arrows, and I'm assuming that's why, not my Wardens of Minas but I'm assuming that's why my Hallowed Knights have been dropping so quickly. Not to mention my Fountain Guard, who are basically down to half strength. And these Dunedain Defenders, yeah. The Arthedain Rangers did not have the greatest day. The Shire Guard and now Dunedain Defenders proving to be slightly too much for them. But I do have Pelargin Marines. They will outclass basically both of these units. Fairly substantially, I would add. And you can see very little kills. But this, I don't know whether to describe this as a mistake or not. Because it definitely has the potential to work. For instance, if I'd sent in these Gondor Great Spears and stuff, this was never going to work out in my favour. But as it happened, she sends the Shire Guard and Dunedain Defenders, Dunedain Defenders, down the siege tower. The Elen Dunmar Defenders and Wardens of the North getting stuck in now as well, in the battle for the front gate. Which, as you can imagine, is going to result in a few minor issues. Unfortunately, my Wardens of Minas just getting slowly but surely prodded to death by pikemen. Not exactly the greatest thing for you, to happen. But this is very unfortunate for passive levels, I would say. Because by pushing her Dunedain Defenders outside, she has inadvertently opened her soldiers up to javelin fire by the Pelargin Marines, and she is desperately trying to basically push through. But I do get a nice volley in, unfortunately not even flattening many of my Pelargin Marines, to be honest, and slaughtering an awful lot of Dunedain Defenders in the process. One of those hobbits just got yeeted in the air there. I mean, that volley was definitely not as good. That volley was good, but you can see the Pelargin Marines truly showing their worth in beating back, just being able to hold even, and beat back some Dunedain units. And then, basically, I see these guys, they're starting to mop up my Dunedain Rangers, and unfortunately, they've got their flanks exposed to javelins, and somehow they slaughtered some of my own troops when all the javelins had to do was hit these. And Pastel has noticed and is desperately trying to rush the Dunedain Defenders at me. But pathfinding issues and just Arthedain Rangers being a nuisance means they're turning their back. And even though these guys are going to reach my Pelargin Marines, their numbers have been significantly reduced by this point, to the point where they're not, I certainly wouldn't describe them as a threat. These Pelican Marines here, they've almost finished off the Dunedain defenders, and they're slowly but surely cleaving their way through the Shire Guard. And the front gate fight, it's not going horribly. Fortunately, past level, she has some of her Dunedain Rangers left alive, and these champion Knights of Elos Tyrion, which could prove to be a slight problem. However, I pretty much have managed to just deal with this outside incursion. My Dunedain Rangers getting finished off here. The Thelian Rangers even. This guy getting a kill. Respect. But yeah, they're definitely not the greatest unit in melee, Arthedain Rangers. Compared to some of the other Rangers in the mod, they're very weak in melee, I would actually add. Elendilmir defenders could be a slight problem to deal with, but with any luck, a unit of healthy Fountain Guard and a unit of Pikes should be more than enough to deal with them. What I'm trying to do here is just, I believe, just stationing these Pelican Marines. They're just going to send the last 40 in and then fight these guys in melee. As they come off the towers, I believe, siege towers even. I believe that's what I do with these guys. And these Pelican Marines, the 87 of them that remain, finishing off these Shire Guard, who my 35 Hallow Knights of Anor will be only too happy to finish off these final 6. Which is only just going to pad out their kill count. That is if they can actually catch the tiny little buggers, which, well, a couple of them escape, but they are running into yet more enemy soldiers. Which certainly doesn't bode well for their survival. Champion Knights of Elos Tyrion just hanging out, doing absolutely nothing. Like, absolute champs. Let's just put this down to 7. You can see here the Wardens of the North. There's arguably, he has way more bodyguards here units than I do. What I'm trying to do here is just run these Pelican Marines away. So if I can get them away from these Champion Knights of Elos Tyrion, and then get a Javelin volley in, that could basically win it for me. And you can see here, it doesn't look too good for pass level at the moment. Like, there's 19% in it, but you will see very quickly how much that can change when basically everything one player has left is like spears. And keep in mind, a lot of this balance of power is going to be these 35 Hallow Knights of Anor, which pretty much don't get used again in this battle until we know what the result is. These Pelican Marines, as I said, just gonna finish off the Dunedain Rangers. 5 of those left, less than 5 now, 4, 3, 2. They're just getting killed off. There we go. And that is all the Dunedain Rangers left, which leaves me with another unit of Pelican Marines to use. And unit of Pelican Marines, at this point in a battle, you could argue very, very important. Trying to use my Gondor Great Spears, just trying to use that phalanx of theirs to just poke and prod these Champion Knights of Elos Tyrion to death. Got 30 odd Wardens of Minas heal left. But unfortunately, because they're archers, they're not going to stand up to the Champion Knights of Elos Tyrion in a one-on-one engagement. Unfortunately, neither are Pelican Marines. they're slowly but surely getting run through. They'll probably get a couple more kills, but this is a bodyguard tier unit, multiple hit points, much more elite than a unit like Pelican Marines. However, they are slowly but surely killing these Champion Knights of Arthedain off. And what I'm trying to do is, I mean, I kind of know I need to get a Javelin body in. And this unit, I believe, is the one with all the ammo. Oh wait, no it's not. This unit has like one body of Javelins left. Which could basically kill half of this unit of Elendilmir defenders. But unfortunately my Fountain Guard of Nimloth, their numbers are starting to dwindle. My Gondor Great Spears, being the absolute idiots that they are, facing the wrong way and getting cut down by Champion Knights of Arthedain. Not exactly what I would describe as the greatest way to stay alive. And we can see here Champion Knights of Arthedain, while they are dying, don't get me wrong, they are also bringing a lot of soldiers down with them. And they are basically going up against spears at this point. I've got a few like elite units, like Warns and Minas, I feel, but they are very few and far between. There's 8 of them remaining. 13 even. Must be 8. Yeah, there was 8 Pelican Marines. A lot less than 8 Pelican Marines now. And we're simply just slowly but surely trying to kill off these Champion Knights of Arthedain. Do we have enough to do this? Let's have a look at the balance of power. This is 95% of past level's army has been destroyed, and only 86% of mine. 87% of mine. But all of her units like cost her bodyguards here. And like very, very elite. And like while Pelican Marines, I'm trying to run them away, see if I can just pass the level, see if her micro isn't quite like on point. Maybe try and get a volley of javelins into a unit like these Elendilmir defenders. And even though I'm only just like pulling them off, at this point I would argue it might be a bit too late. My Fountain Guard pretty much spent. So yeah, they're not going to be up to too much, but I've pulled the Elendilmir defenders away. There's 34 of them remaining, and if I'm going to be honest, they're probably going to lose to a unit like Pelican Marines. So Pelican Marines are definitely very well equipped to deal with a unit like Elendilmir defenders. I think one of the most important mistakes I make here is putting them on guard mode and trying to get them to use their javelins. But then eventually I realised, right, I need them to fight, they're gonna lose otherwise. So they start fighting, and you can see how, well, I'd say, good they are at dealing with a unit like Elendilmir defenders. You can see they're really starting to drop now. However, the problem I have is my Fountain Guard, 10 of them left. They're not going to last too much longer against 18 Warns of the North. And then, while my Gondor Great Spears, they're probably going to be able to beat these guys, given the time. If they have enough time, they're probably going to be able to win this. However, what Past Levels does, which is certainly the right thing to do in this situation, is when she finishes these guys off, which does not take long.
If we continue like this,
Considering there's 4 of them left. 3 of them left. They're basically just gonna two of them left. one. And an a brave Arthedain Ranger is standing in their way. But one Arthedain Ranger is not going to stop them from charging into the rear of my Gondor Great Spears. And again, like, while without this, they possibly could have beaten the Champion Knights. Now they're getting hit in the back as well. It's probably not going to go too well for them. My general is just attempting to go ham. Let's see if he can get the kill he needs. Can he get a kill? He appears to be hitting them. But he's got hit. Parried, very nice. Ooh, got a nice cheeky hit in there. And yeah, this could actually be slightly killable. See, if my general hadn't died there, even if he'd only got one more kill off on these guys, that's still one kill. And these guys would have lasted maybe 10 seconds longer. The big question is 10 seconds long enough to finish these off? Because what these guys routing has offered up is the chance for these guys to charge over here and assist in dealing with my 60 Pelagian Marines. And there's 7, 6, make that, 5. There's 5 Elendilmir defenders. That's 5, 19. 27 men of pass levels remain, compared to 50 of mine. Warns of the North, slowly but... ouch. One of these Warns of the North drop in there. But Champion Knights of Elstyrion proving their worth in melee. The Elendilmir defenders almost destroyed now. Down to 2 men. That's 15. 23 men remain for pass levels at the moment, compared to 37 of mine. Which is, to put it simply, really quite close. Another 3 of pass levels men drop. So she has 20 men remaining. Men of pass levels remain. And I'm just like, I'm trying to scare her by just walking my Hallowed Knights up behind them. 10, 12, 18. There's 18 of them. Pass levels has 18 men left. And this might... nope, 17 men left. And still these Elendilmir defenders fight on. You've kind of got to hand it to them though. Like, they've been through a lot. There goes the Warden of the North. So 9, 14, 16 men. Pass levels has 16. Might go down to 15. I can't quite remember. Depends if this Elendilmir defender dies. 9, 11, yeah, 16. At this point, we're just testing how good are Champion Knights of Elstyrion compared to Hallowed Knights. And the answer is, as you'd probably have thought,
Men have slain the enemy general. Without him, his troops will lose their will to fight.
I would say not particularly good. My one Pelagian Marine, final Pelagian Marine dies, leaving 2 Elendil, 11, 16 men, and I admit defeat once these 2 Champion Knights eventually die. Maybe even beforehand, you know. Yeah, this is an insane fight. I have to admit. An insanely close fight. Granted, if I'd kept my Hallow Knights in, I probably would have won by a couple hundred. But by losing a few thousand florins, it basically made the battle a lot closer, which I guess I'm grateful for in terms of like the YouTube channel. Just having that nice close fight. And thank God we get to see this. 37 men remain, basically that's 1,288. But of course there were some troops that routed for her. And she was left with 16 men at the end of that. That's how close it was. 16 men. Which I doubt you're going to see much closer than that. Ever again on my channel, maybe. There might be some replays where it's like within 2 or 3 men, but they're going to be even rarer than this. But yeah, let's see what did the damage for me. My Wardens of Minas 124 kills, but a lot of that was against bodyguard tier units and, well, bodyguard tier cavalry. Athenian Rangers doing pretty poorly for themselves, all said and done. With the highest of them getting 70 kills. If I'd had Black Root Bale Archers as well, like instead of 2 of these, it could have been slightly different because they would have just been able to stand up more in a one-on-one fight. Then Fountain God and Nimloth, 243 and 83 kills respectively. This is the one I'm assuming that went up against the general, not general unit, but yes, general units. But more so the not wardens. Summon wardens, not wardens of Minas Ithil. It'll come to me at some point. Yeah, don't worry about it. Then Citadel Guard, 127 and 63 kills each. One unit of Hallowed Knights getting 423 kills, the other getting 59. That unit is the one that I obviously kept out of the fight. Pelican Marines getting over 100 kills each. My Gondor Sword Infantry, 30 and 60 kills each, with Gondor Great Spears getting 62 kills. So, I mean, it didn't go badly, I would say. Like, it went really quite well. It was a very good, very nice, close, evenly matched fight. That was really fun to play in, of course. But yeah, I guess we'll call this one there. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Of course, feel free to leave a dislike if you didn't. Leave a comment to show support. Subscribe if you're new around here. I'm trying to upload way more frequently than I used to. At least a few times a month at the moment. When I have exams going on, because I'm going through my GCSEs at the moment, that could quite possibly change drastically. But at the moment, I'm able to upload a few times, 3 or 4 times a month, and hopefully that can continue for a good long while. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.